Now we'll continue to study the muscles of the lower limb. The muscle of lower limb include the muscle of hip, the muscle of thigh, the muscle of leg, and the muscle of foot. First, let's see the muscle of hip. You see here is our hip bone, on two sides hip bone, and in front of the hip bone is anterior group, and on the back of it is posterior group. You see, on the back, posterior group. Now let's see the software, muscular, the lower hip. Here is hip. Okay. Now you see here is our hip. On the back is the posterior group, the very big and strong muscle. And in front of the hip is anterior group. Okay, anterior group. Now first, let's see anterior group. The first one is iliopsoas. Iliopsoas. The iliopsoas, there are two muscles. One is iliacus. Another one is psoas major. Psoas major. And the common name is iliopsoas, but you should know there are two muscles. Now let's see the software again. Iliacus. This one, psoas major. Psoas major. The psoas major is from your lumbar vertebrae, and iliacus from the ilium bone. Now let's say the right or insertion, origin and insertion. Only to see, don't need to master. First one, iliacus from iliac fossa, or the superior border, and then go downward along the iliac fossa. And the psoas major, this one, is from the transverse process from first lumbar vertebrae to the fifth lumbar vertebrae from here. And they have this common insertion to the femur. On the superior part of femur, on the middle side, there is a lighter trochanter. So this muscle from lumbar vertebrae and ilium and on the femur. So the function is when this muscle contract upwards, will make your femur move forwards. This one is flexion. Flex the hip joint. And on the lateral side of the hip, there is a tensor facial lati on the lateral side. From the lateral side of the ilium, then go downward to the lateral side of the fibula. Make the hip move laterally. Okay. Now let's see the back of your hip. On the back is posterior group. On the posterior group, there are three layers of muscle, and they are very strong, very thick. First, let's see the superficial layer. There is a very big muscle. This one is gluteus maximus. Gluteus maximus is very thick, very thick. And under this is the medial group and deep layer. There are three layers. First, let's see the gluteus maximus is from the dorsal portion of the iliac ala, and the sacrum. Here the sacrum, and coccyx, and one ligament from the sacrum to the eighth chair tuberosity, sacrotuberous ligament. Okay, here is the origin. Then this muscle will go downward and laterally. Finally, will end on the gluteal tuberosity. Okay, and will another insertion in the iliotibial tract. On the lateral side is the iliolabial tract. Okay, the lateral side. Okay, on the femur. And action will make your femur move backwards. This one is extends the hip joints. Extend the hip joints. Extension. Okay, you don't need to master any detail of it. Only know on the back of your hip there is a very thick muscle, gluteus maximus. And under it there are many muscles. You don't need to master any one. Now I'll only show you the name of them. Under the gluteus maximus is gluteus medialis. Here is the maximus. This one is the medius. And here is piriformis. Piriformis. And then is the gallium superior, tendon of obturator internus, gallium inferior, and quadrantid families. Don't need to matter any of them. Okay. And deep layer is about obturator externus and gluteus minimus. Gluteus minimus. You only need to know is on the back of the hip there are 3 layers: gluteus muscle, gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, and gluteus minimus. Okay. And then is about the muscle of thigh. This muscle is important. Include anterior group, posterior group, and medial group. Medial group, 3 groups. First, let's see the anterior group. Anterior group. Let's see the software again. You see, it's our thigh. Here is anterior group. There are many muscles. On the back is the posterior group. And on the medial side, there's a medial group. 3 groups. Okay. First one, let's see the anterior group. The first muscle is sartorius. Sartorius is the important muscle. You should master it. This muscle is from anterior superior iliac span. Anterior superior iliac span. It belongs to the ilium, and you can touch on your surface. And then this muscle will go downwards and medially cross a knee joint. Finally, will end the medial surface of the tibia. So this muscle from ilium cross the femur, finally end on the tibia. So we'll cross 2 joints, one hip joint, another one knee joint. So the function is flex your hip and knee joint. But you should know the function is different. Your hip, flex the hip, your femur move forwards, and flex the knee, the tibia move backwards. It's different function, you see. Flex the hip is the femur move forwards. Flex the knee, the tibia move backwards. Okay. And the second one is quadriceps femoris. It's very important muscle you should master. And the quadri here. The quadri means 4 ceps. There are 4 heads. First one, rectus femoris. Rectus femoris in front of the femur. Second one, vastus medialis on the medial side. Third one, vastus lateralis on the lateral side. And fourth one, vastus intermedius. When you cut off the rectus femoris, under the 8, you can see the fourth one, vastus intermedialis. It's a 4 muscle. Now let's see the region of them. The vastus lateralis from the lateral side of the linear aspera. Can you remember this structure? This structure is on the back of the femur. On the back of the femur, there is the linear aspera on the back. So this muscle is from the back of the femur and on the lateral side. And the vastus medialis, this one, from the medial side of this linear aspera. Okay, medial side. And the rectus femoris in front of the femur and is from the anterior inferior iliac span, from the ilium, go downwards. Okay. And last one is vastus intermedius is from the front, the anterior surface of the femur. Of the femur. So now you know the four heights. How many heights there are from femur? How many? Linear at belong femur. Anterior surface of the femur. So these three heads, they are from the femur. From the femur. And only one, the rectus femoris, is from ilium. From ilium. Okay. And then all the four heads will go downwards and form one tendon together. Will end on patellar. Now let's see the insertion. Patellar, here is the patellar. Here is the tendon of the four heads. Will form patellar ligament and on patellar. And then the tendon will go downwards continually and on the tibial tuberosity. Tibial tuberosity. Here's the end. The action when this muscle contracts will make your tibia move forwards. This one is extend the knee joints. Extend the knee joints. At the same time, because the rectus femoris is from ilium, from the anterior inferior iliac span, from the ilium, so the function has another function is flex the hip. Flex the hip. Only this head has this function. Only one head has this function. Other three heads, because they are from femur, have not this function. But they have the same function is this one. Okay, it's about quadriceps femoris. Now let's see about the medial group. The medial group, this muscle, you only know the name. You only know the name. Don't need to master the origin, insertion. Okay. The first one is pectineus, from the pubis, then to the femur. Pectineus is one. Second one, adductor longus. Adductor longus. Adductor longus, this one. Adductor longus. From here to here. Okay. And the third one, adductor brevis. This one. Third layer. Brevis. Okay. Brevis. Adductor brevis. Fourth one, adductor magnum. The biggest one. This one. Adductor magnus. Magnus. So there are three layers. The superficial layer is longus. The second layer is brevis. The third layer is magnum. Magnum. All of them is from the pubis, then we'll go laterally and on the femur. So they have the same function. Make your hip adduction. Adduction. So the name adduction, adduction, adduction. Okay. And there's another muscle is this one. Gracilis. Or this one. Gracilis. From the pubis go downward to the medial side of the tibia. Also can make your hip move medially. Adduction. Adduction. So they have the same function. Adduct your hip joint. This one is the medial group. Let's see them again. Pectineus, adductor longus, gracilis is the first layer. Longus, second layer brevis, third layer magnus, medial side gracilis. Okay. Now let's see the back of the thigh. On the back of the thigh, there are three muscles, and they are important. You should master. The first one is biceps femoris. Biceps femoris is the right thigh. So on the lateral side, here, biceps femoris, and on the medial side are two muscles, semitendinosus and semimembranosus. Okay. Now let's see them one by one. First, let's see on the right side. This one is right side on the back. First one is biceps femoris. Bicep means there are two heights. One is the long height. Okay, the long height, very long. is from here, ischium tuberosity, then go downwards to the long height. Another one is short height. Short height ended 8, and is from the back of the femur, in the middle of the femur on the back, short height. Okay, and semitendinosus on the medial side, and on the superficial layer is semitendinosus. On the deep layer is semimembranosus. Superficial and deep. Superficial and deep. Okay. Now let's see the origin and the insertion of term. First, let's study the bicep femoralis. And origin, the long height is from ischial tuberosity, short height from linear aspiral of the femur. Linear aspiral of the femur. Okay. Short height. And insertion is head of the fibula on the lateral side, and on the head of the fibula. Head of the fibula. Okay. So the function, does not let's discuss about the function. First one. Second one, semitendinosus. Semitendinosus is this one. It's also from the ischial tuberosity, and the insertion is the medial surface of the superficial part of the shaft of the tibia. Here. Medial surface of the superficial part of the tibia. And the semimembranosus under the semitendinosus is also from ischial tuberosity, and insertion is the posterior part. Posterior aspal of the medial condyle of the tibia. It's very near. The two muscles, they have the insertion, they are very near. One is the medial side and another one on the back of the top of the tibia. Okay. Now let's see the function. The three muscles have the same function. First, here on the back of the hip, here on the back of the knee, and they can make your hip extension. Okay, make the femur move backwards, extension the hip, and lower part make the tibia move backwards. This one is extension, extends the knee, extend the hip, flex the knee, extend the hip is the function. Okay. Okay, now let's see the muscle of your leg. The muscle of the leg is also is the right side. You see the leg. In front of it, anterior group. On the back, posterior group. And on the lateral side is the lateral group. Okay. And this is the muscle of them. Anterior, lateral, and posterior. Now, let's see them one by one. First, let's see the anterior group. Anterior group. Here is on the back is the tibia. So in front of it, there is a muscle. It's tibialis anterior. Now, please touch your leg. You can touch your tibia. Here is the anterior border of your tibia. And the medial surface of your tibia, there are no any muscle covered on it. You can touch the long surface of the medial surface of the tibia. And now, when you touch on the lateral side, all the anterior border of tibia, you can touch there is a very big, very strong muscle. This one is tibialis anterior. Okay. And under the 8, there are two muscles. Extensor digitoris longus, extensor hallucis longus, the two muscles. One, the hallucis will make your big toes extension. And this muscle can make the other 4 toes extension. So all the function is extension. Okay. And now let's see with transverse section. You can hear the tibia, here the fibula. In front of tibia is tibialis anteriors, and under the 8 is extensor digitorum longus and extensor hallucis longus. Okay. And the function, make your ankle move upwards. We name it dorsiflex. Dorsiflex, move upwards. Dorsiflex, dorsiflexion of the foot, and extend the toes. The toes also extension. Dorsiflexion, dorsiflexion. Okay. Dorsiflexion, another name is extend. They are equal. Equal. Okay. And move downwards, we name it plantar flexion. So go upwards or go downward, they are all extension, all flexion, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. But we name the dorsiflexion is extend, and plantar flexion is flexion. You should know this one is flexion, normal flexion, extension. But in life, we think this one is flexion. This one also is flexion. So they name them dorsiflexion or plantar flexion. On the lateral side, there are two muscles, peroneus longus and peroneal brevis. Two muscles. One is long, another one is short. And then you see these two muscles will end on the lateral side of your foot. Make your ankle move laterally. Okay, it's aberrant. You see here is the peroneal longus, peroneal brevis on the lateral side of fibular. The function is plantar flexion, and avert your foot. Aberrant, move laterally. A plantar flexion means because will end on the base of your foot. Then when this muscle contract, will make your foot move downwards. It's plantar flexion. Okay. And then is about posterior group. On the posterior group, there is a very important muscle. Is tricep 3. Tricep means there are three heads. One head is on the superficial part. On the superficial part, there is gastrocnemius, and this muscle has two heights, medial height and lateral height. They are from tibia, and they are from the femur, the medial side and lateral side of the femur. And underneath there is deep layer. This one is soleus. Okay, it's three heads. Now let's see the origin and the insertion of the first one. Tricep 3. The superficial layer, gastrocnemius, has two heights. It's also the right leg. Here is the medial head. From the medial condyle of femur. The lateral height from lateral condyle of femur. Then go downward together. And under it is the deep layer. This one is soleus. This muscle is from the back of your tibia and fibular. Go downward. Then the three muscles will combine to one tendon. We name it Achilles tendon. And on the calcaneal tuberosity, here is calcaneus. Okay, calcaneal tuberosity, and to here. And this muscle function is can make your ankle flexion. Flexion means the foot move downwards. Okay, and upper portion because it's from the femur, so also can make your knee flexion. And this here is the deep layer of the posterior group. You don't need to master, only know there are many muscles on the back of your tibia and fibular. They have the same function with the tricep 3. Okay, it's the posterior group. Okay. And then is the muscle of the foot. You don't need to master any of the muscle of the dorsal, the muscle, the soul. Okay, it's about the muscle of this class. There are many important muscles in our body, but there are perhaps more than 600 muscles in our body. But you don't need to master everyone. You only master the important one. For example, on the shoulder, you only master deltoid muscle. The arm, you only master the bicep brachialis, and on the back is tricep brachialis. And here, the forearm, you don't need to master all of them. You only know the common function of them. The hand muscle don't need to master. And then it's about the hip. The hip, you only know the name of them is enough. The name is enough. Then it's about the thigh. There are some important muscle. First, anterior part, you should master sartorius, quadriceps femoris. On the back, you should master the bicep femoris, semi-membranous, and semi-tendinosus. Okay. Then the leg. The leg, you only master the muscle on the back is triceps surae. Triceps surae. All the muscle foot don't need to master. Okay. Now, let's see the software again. Let's see the important muscle again. First is about the shoulder. Deltoid, this muscle. 3 group. Okay. And then is the arm. Upper arm. In front of the humerus, this muscle is bicep brachii at 2 heights, long height, short height. And on the back is tricep brachii, long height, lateral height, and medial height. Okay. Then let's see the hip. Only know there are 2 groups, anterior group, iliacus, psoas major. On the back is gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, and gluteus minimus. The 3 layers is enough. Others don't need to matter anymore. Now let's see the thigh. In front of the thigh, first one, sartorius. You should know the sartorius is the longest muscle in our body. Sartorius. Okay, longest one. And quadriceps femoris, this one with rectus femoris. Here is vastus lateralis, vastus medialis. Now I hide the rectus femoris. You can see under it is vastus intermedius. Vastus intermedius. Okay, the 4 heights. Now let's see the bike. This is bike. This one, bicep femoris, is the long height. Now I hide it, and it is short height. And on the medial side, the superficial layer is semi-tendinosus. Now I hide it. You can see under it is semi-membranous. Okay. Now let's see about the leg. On the back of the leg, there is triceps surae. The superficial layer is gastrocnemius, and this one has 2 heights, medial height, lateral height, and under it is soleus. Soleus. Okay, it's the important muscle of your limbs. Okay.